Hello. So let's first get the most obvious thing off the table, the title of my talk, full clickbait. I'm not going to tell you how to lose 10% of your IQ. It's actually just a fun quote from my first manager, my very first manager. And he used to say that once somebody who used to be an engineer before becomes a manager, they immediately lose 10% of their IQ in the eyes of their former colleagues. So yeah, but what I will tell you is my journey a bit farther away from just developer, but actually I started as a QA engineer. So let's start from the very beginning. My career began in a large corporate, no names spoken as of here, but I spent there a total of 6.5 years, which is a lot of time, especially considering that I kind of have this policy of not staying anywhere for more than 3 to 5 years maximum. So 6.5 years in one company, that's an eternity. So I broke my own policy on that. So as I mentioned, I started as a QA engineer. It was in data warehouse. So what we did there was manual exploratory testing. Fancy words. It wasn't fancy work at all. It was actually just manual testing. Like you get some SQL, you get data moved, data transformed, and you have to ensure that everything is okay in the target. Well, a lot of repetitive tasks to be carried out, and we did it all manually. So I got tired quite fast. I decided to automate that shit. But we didn't have much tools at our hands. The only thing we had was actually Excel, Microsoft Excel. So Excel, what do we have there? Database connections, Visual Basic Application scripts. Okay, fine, let's use that. Done, automated, all repetitive testing tasks gone off the table. We just push a button and all the tests are rerun immediately. Okay, I even got the top performer title for that, but that's another story. So next thing, after a few years as a QA engineer, well, things got mundane and boring. I was about to leave the company. I had been there like 2.5 years, so a little less than the 3 that I would consider the perfect time to leave. I had pretty nice offers on the table, quite interesting. And by interesting, I mean much, much better paid than in the large corpo. But the corpo had something of value as well. I had really good colleagues. Like, I mean, my close colleagues. That was superb. Like, yeah. I mean, we did everything together. We went to the smoking room together. We went after work to bar together. We even played table tennis together. And yeah, that was something. So I decided to stay in the company. It just took different responsibilities. Moved from QA to kind of application maintenance / DevOps team who was responsible for a Swedish software, something not really interesting, really old legacy platforms. And we had some pretty great ideas how to turn things around, like bring in new tools, revolutionize the software, get people on new ways of working, you know, get rid of the old CVS and start using Git instead, for example. But okay, 2 years into that, some of my small initiatives got through, but none of the big stuff got through. I had developed a lot of friction with my Swedish colleagues. They really didn't want any of the new stuff. They just wanted to carry on what they had been doing for 30 years or so. So again, I was about to leave the company, but inside the company, I got another offer. So now I became an architect, software architect, still an asterisk here in the maintenance team still, not the main software development team. But by this point in time, I had already grown really frustrated and my morale was super low and I practically had like 0 loyalty left to the company. So what happened was that I started taking side hustles. That's always fun when you have your main thing and your small stuff. So I was literally like building 3D printers, writing IoT code, doing the fun stuff. And also some not so fun stuff. I got together with some colleagues, buy a beer, and we spoke about one function inside the company that was really broken at the time. But for some reason, nobody pointed it out to everyone. So, hint, hint, AML. So we decided that, okay, it's about time we revolutionize the company. We learn what's out there on the market. Maybe we can use somebody else's solutions to fix AML in the company. AML is anti-money laundering. And we found out that, okay, our company was just using what was supposedly the best software available, but that software really was a piece of crap. So, yeah, we developed our own, a bunch of 4 guys. And we went to the important people. We spoke to them that, hey, we have an improvement available. But nope. In that point, it was like, okay, we had high motivation, we did the software, and now suddenly we're like, okay, there is a problem, yes, but we don't want to fix it. So we started looking for other potential interested parties. That's another interesting thing to do. In that point of time, young and naive as we were, we actually realized that this was kind of like going on the limits, and that we were risking with quite a lot by doing that. So, whoopsie, we got fired. But we got fired for a good reason. I mean, like getting fired for wanting to revolutionize the function of anti-money laundering. And then a couple years later, learning that, well, there actually was a problem with anti-money laundering. That's good. So that moves us, let's us move on to the next topic, which is what happens when you have a product and you think that maybe it's a startup. You start looking for investors. Well, we did that. And that meant a lot of storytelling and even more storytelling. We got noticed. In fact, it was a pretty big name by Estonian standards. And after 3 months of negotiations, we got funding. But fun thing here is that our product was changed entirely. It was no longer what we had dreamt of building. So we started running our company. We had 3 technical founders, 2 business founders. But we had a pretty big problem. We didn't have a CEO. So I was assumed, because I was the lead dev, to take the role of CTO, and somehow I ended up getting the CEO role as well. So that means that I was doing all that, and probably even more. So where did that lead us? Well, 8 months of high-intensity work, hirings, having to let people go because those hirings were poor, obviously. Some were good. Good is in fact in the crowd today. And after 8 months of high-intensity work, the technical founders left. So, yep, I was there still. But we stayed for a final push with the business guys because we thought that maybe we can pivot and still make it work somehow. During that final push, my personal life got absolutely demolished. My family, my friends, even my girlfriend, like, phew, you don't want to go through that. And in the end, yes, you guessed it, we failed. So I was facing burnout, feelings of failure. I had burned 400K of my investors' money. And I had nothing to show up. So, yep, not a good place to be in. So I thought that, okay, this is it. I don't want anything more anymore. But one friend set me up with a low-intensity work, like 9 to 5, catching up on a project that was stale for a while. It was really well paid, I have to say. During that time, I spent a bunch of time in nature to recover, took Spanish classes, and then eventually went traveling. And then I was ready for some new action. That's how I got into FoodDocs. There was COVID, and guess what? An investor set me up with FoodDocs. So it comes out that my investors weren't all that disappointed. So what has happened in FoodDocs has been, again, 2 years of very high-intensity work. I'm doing all that again, but there is a major difference. I'm not the CEO. I have assumed only the technical responsibilities that I can handle nothing in addition to that. FoodDocs is really real nice. It feels like family and is a lot of fun. And the key thing to make a startup successful is that you have founders who know what they do, why they do, and stay true to their nature and don't let anybody to tell them otherwise. And I still have to do hirings and firings. So hirings are easy. Find like-minded people. Don't worry about their skills. Just make sure they are capable of learning fast, and you're golden. Well, firings, if you're feeling like in a family, then firings are a shit, I have to say, because it's your family now. And to sum things up, I would like to tell you that don't worry about what you do. Don't worry about what kind of consequences there might be. Do what you want to do and do what you really would like to do, because the most important thing in this life is for you to be happy. And you cannot achieve happiness if you're doing something that you don't like to do. Surround yourself with like-minded people and make sure that the people around you are at least as smart as yourself and capable of learning really fast. If you got all that, you're set for go. Thank you.